Doug.
Hey, David.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Hey, you and I got an email, and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet from Eileen.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, I haven't looked at it. I'll take a look at it either later tonight or tomorrow and buzz you.
Okay.
Always to hurry up and wait for it to be 5:45.
Yes, exactly.
Doug, I think Roger's going to speak to the first one, but if he doesn't pop on, I'll be happy to speak to it.
He's on.
Okay, good.
Hello, Doug. Hello, David.
Hi there, Mark.
How's it going?
Hello.
Good.
Great.
Okay, we're going to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. Present are council members Lang, Harris, Bub, Blake, and Marmee. First item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $40,000.
Yeah, this is just the interest payment on the Horns Hill project. We refused, or we didn't get everything done like we needed to, so we had to redo the note. And so I got to pay the interest, and so this is what this is. We're paying it for another 90 days until we get everything completed. So that's the plan right now. So this is just to pay the interest so that we can renew the note.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Harris.
Mr. Chairman, I will
questions?
abstain on this.
Okay. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Councilmember Bub is abstaining. All those opposed, thumbs up. That motion passes 4-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $1,000.
Mr. Chair, what this is, it's a PEP grant. It's for signage that'll be used in the street and traffic department. Could also be used for things like street.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bubs, second by Harris. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $200,000.
Yeah, this is money for our UV light upgrade, disinfection system upgrade at the wastewater treatment plant. We rebuilt we installed UV light about almost 23 years ago now. And of course, with new technology and of course, cost electricity and that kind of stuff, we think we can almost save money by upgrading to this new system. The old system it's very hard to get parts for right now. Bulb technology has changed dramatically, and we can get bulbs a lot cheaper. And so what this money is for the design of the system. And so what will happen is we'll have to design this system over the next 9 to 10 months. We'll be going out to bid on a construction project next July, and the system won't be up and running until the spring of 2022. So this is for the design work, and this is all out of wastewater funds. So.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Yes, Councilman Blake.
Roger, I'm just curious. I was doing some recent research on other cities and water systems that they use ultraviolet light. Do you see us using less chemicals when this system, or how would that affect the whole process when this newer ultraviolet light system goes into play?
This is at the wastewater treatment plant. We've been using ultraviolet light down there for 23 years. And in fact, we were one of the first 100 wastewater plants in the United States to use ultraviolet light for disinfection. It did eliminate the use of chlorine and chlorine gas. And that was the big issue, to get rid of chlorine, because it was a hazardous chemical and it was dangerous not only to our employees, but to the public. We had a leak, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to continue. We also disinfect with UV light at the water plant as well. So we use it a number of places. So we see it as good technology, but technology changes dramatically especially in the UV light area, where we got LED type bulbs. Bulbs are very expensive in the medium pressure that we're using right now. So so we see it as a cost saver, actually. So
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, did you have something too?
Yeah. Hey, Roger, how much do you think we will save over a period of time upgrading to these new bulbs?
Well, I should have looked at the engineering report. We had a preliminary engineering report we did on this, and I read it, but it's been a while since I looked at it. I don't know, we're spending roughly $30,000 to $40,000 a month on electricity at the wastewater plant. We're hoping to get a little bit of savings on this, to help pay for the new system. It's not going to be a complete saving. It's not, we're not going to completely save the money we spend for the new work, but there will be some savings. Bulbs right now, I believe the number, and I don't know the exact numbers. I don't buy them directly. The guys at the plants do, but I think each bulb is like $3,000 or $4,000. We've got 96 bulbs right now. That cost drops into the less than $1,000 range for the same number of bulbs with the new technology. So replacing those bulbs every couple of years, because the strength of the bulb goes down. And you disinfect in a certain UV light wavelength. It's 256 nanometers is where you have to be. So the bulb, when it loses strength, you can't use them anymore, even though they physically work, but you can't get in that same wavelength. These last longer. They're less heat to them, so they last longer, and they're cheaper. So that's really where the savings is going to be at. I don't have the exact number. I can get you that number. In fact, I can get you the whole report. I guess I should have read that thing before I got on here, but there is some savings to us to doing this. Again, not complete savings to save. This is not going to be a free project, but we think it's the right thing to do to save us money for maintenance in the future. So,
All right, thank you.
Any other questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $5.43.
Mr. Chair, both of this, there's an appropriation and disappropriation. Both of these are kind of at the request of the auditor's office to kind of clean things up. The first one is an appropriation of $5.43. And then, of course, the disappropriations are down there. One of them was the amount was short, $5.43, and the disappropriation was an over budget. Is the way I understand it.
I'll offer a motion on the appropriation.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion on the appropriation? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Now I'll entertain a motion for the disappropriation amount of $122,307.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
That motion is by Bub, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by a thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for a resolution repealing Resolution 20-26 and consenting to an enterprise zone abatement agreement between the Board of County Commissioners of Licking County, Ohio, and Packaging Corporation of America, and authorizing the Director of Public Service to execute such agreement on behalf of the City of Newark and declaring an emergency.
Doug, I was kind of hoping Mark would speak to this. I don't know if Mark's out there.
Yeah, he's on
Sorry.
mute.
Sorry, I was muted. I apologize. Let's start over. So thank you again, Mr. Chair. So the legislation tonight pertains to the enterprise zone agreement legislation that council passed back this past May. That EZA allowed for a tax abatement to be offered to Packaging Corp of America should they decide to relocate to a new location in Newark on Thornwood Drive. This new legislation is being brought forward at the request of PCA to repeal and replace Resolution 2026 and restart the enterprise zone agreement legislative process. The reason for doing this is that the COVID-19 virus is disrupting their current and future economic business climate in which they're operating. As a result, they do not feel confident at this time that they can commit to the new jobs creation figures of 8 to 10 new full-time jobs currently now in Resolution 2026. And so they want to repeal and replace this with this new legislation that will retain the 132 full-time positions that they now currently have. And I'll be glad to answer any other questions.
Yes, Mr. Blake.
Director Motter, I was hoping, I know that you worked with this company for pretty much all the time that you've been director. Can you give some background as to when was the decision made, or what was the discussion centered around them actually changing locations?
When did they decide to consider changing locations?
Well, all previous discussions
they-
have been working with you, trying to keep them solvent and trying to keep them as good business partners in the city, and working with them on the different issues they've had on South 21st Street. And I'm just curious of what discussions have come about to where the Thornwood property is now under consideration.
I think they've been considering something to improve their current situation. It's a very difficult situation getting the trucks in and out of the loading docks off of 21st Street. I think we've all had that experience with having to wait as a semi had to stop traffic on 21st Street and back in and out of their loading docks. The other thing is they're growing. They're a growing company. And I can personally attest, as can the mayor, because we both took a tour through that facility a few years back, and they have maximized just about every square inch available in that current building. So in order for them to be able to grow and to expand, they just need to look for another site that will allow them to do so.
There's no one else asking. Can I ask another follow-up question, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
what discussions are there related to the property if they do move or when they move?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question with a little more clarity?
When they decide to move, what will happen to the property on South 21st Street?
Oh, what will happen? Yeah, you and I had a discussion on this a little earlier today, and basically, there's no definitive answer to that right now. It's going to be a couple of years if they decide to relocate here in Newark before anything would take place. So they'll continue operations as normal until the decision is made. They are very committed that the property be well maintained, and they've done an excellent job of taking care of the property throughout the years. I know recently they've repaved and put a new roof on the building, so they're being very good stewards of the property. They're committed to continuing that. They also are committed that when they look for a buyer, should they sell, that they want someone who will also continue to maintain that property and keep it in good order. There's also a scenario that should they relocate, and as far as that existing property, they've considered maybe selling it and then doing a lease back program where they would continuing with some sort of operations for their business. So they could actually have the new facility and continuing operations at the old facility, but that's yet to be determined.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bub, a second by Harris. Any further questions and/or discussion? I guess I'll just say that I'm in full support of this. The main reason and purpose is to maintain the 132 jobs. I mean, we could be in competition with another location outside of our community. So therefore, if that were the situation that would occur, then we would lose those 132 positions that are paying taxes to the city of Newark. So I am in full support of this resolution. Seeing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $37,000.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll speak to that as well, since it involves my department up in community development. We just, quite frankly, have had an increase in doing lead abatement jobs. We have a lead RLF, or revolving loan fund, up in the department from dollars that were generated from past lead programs. And quite honestly, I think we've only had one or two elevated blood level projects come into our office over the last several years. And so we budgeted accordingly. And then we currently have 4 this year right now. So we just need to appropriate a little bit more money so we can take care of those lead jobs that need to be addressed.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Harris. Questions and/or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all as far as what was on the agenda. As far as I do have just one other request, or just wanting to kind of figure out a game plan moving forward with everything that has gone on this year, not only in the world, but in our community. And I saw the tax revenue for June and I saw that we were behind. We had collected 52% of where we, and last year at that time, we were at 59%. However, because the federal government changed the deadline for when taxes came in, I know that, hopefully they moved that back to July 15th. So I know Barb should be coming out with a new report any day now. She normally does at the first of the month, and she's very good at getting that out. But maybe the first meeting in September, or even if she can do it at our next meeting, finance committee meeting, just giving us kind of a brief synopsis of where we're at, and if she's seeing anything as far as trending, as far as a decline. I know all these quarterlies are based on last year's revenue usually, but however, if we see any indications of anything like that, what do we need to do to kind of plan? I know that also the mayor had said that, we were going to meet as far as our budget review committee right after the first quarter, but then COVID hit, so that kind of threw a curveball into that. So I think we need to probably start looking at some of those things. I also know the auditor usually comes out with his mid-year report and things, and I don't know where he's at with that. So maybe at our next meeting, we can kind of come up with a game plan. And if someone can't do it, then we'll schedule it for a future date, but we do want to kind of get it on the calendar. And we may not want to have all of them all at once, at the same meeting. So if there's somebody that it would work out better to meet in the first meeting in September, we can do that. So with that being said, does anybody else have anything as far as on that topic? I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. Yes, Mr. Blake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you making those comments. I think several people are concerned about the effects of the health pandemic on our city budget. And of course, when it affects our budget, it may affect different services that we're able to provide. So thank you for making those comments, and looking forward to the discussions that we'll have with Barb Jobs and others to get some primary sources on our funding and financial situation.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say a few words.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You're right on. I want to keep everybody in mind what the tax office does. I was down talking to Barb the other day because it was kind of a long deadline season. It didn't, what I want to say, it takes them a little bit longer to process. You can kind of think assembly line work when they're processing checks. So I asked her, do you kind of like it spread out over several months, or do you like it packed into a couple months? And she said, oh, I'll take it packed in a couple months. And that surely was what all the routines were based around in previous years. With that being said, they always close on the deadline on the 15th, whatever month it is, and it happens to be July here. Then they're closed for 2 weeks to the public to process all that mail. At the end of probably the last week or two, there's just tubs of mail that come in. Many people wait to the end to send their check, and probably especially when they're impacted by the COVID. So with that being said, I think your time frame is just about right. Probably the next meeting, but even maybe the first one in September, I'll talk to her. I want to give you guys some pretty good accurate information. At the same time, Jackie will be coming out with our EOM report probably in the next week here for the previous month. Of course, that has a good analysis of expenses too, along with income. But I'll talk to Barb, and I will get back with you guys and figure out just how to present that and give us all a good update. So thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you. All right. With that, this finance committee meeting stands adjourned. Next up, I believe, is what, service?
Yes, it is. We'll wait for Mr. Bub to join us, rejoin us. Ryan, are you out there? You might have had to make a restroom break or something.
I'm here.
No, Ryan.
Oh, Ryan.
There he is. All right, we'll call the Service Committee meeting in order. Those present are myself, Rath, Jeff Harris, Spencer Barker, Jeremy Blake, and Ryan Bubb. Up first, we'll consider Resolution 20-53, the following final resolution enacted by the City of Newark, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the Legislative Authority, Local Public Agency, or LPA, in the matter of the stated described project. The project consists of resurfacing of Blue Jay Roads, County Road 301 between the Newark Eastern Corporation limit and 2nd Street, including pavement repair, signage, and pavement markings lying within the city of Newark. And who is to speak on this? I'm assuming Mr. Moorhead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is the legislation that we actually had a discussion about late at the last meeting. This is the final resolution to cooperate with ODOT, and we also have a contract and a local share along with that. And so would ask that you move it forward so ODOT can put the project out to bid and hopefully get it done this year. In the meantime, we're down doing repairs over the culvert there. Blue Jay Road's closed right now, and those repairs are going quite nicely. So we should be done in plenty of time to coordinate with the paving project. Any other questions? I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions or discussion?
I'll offer a motion.
A motion by Bub,
Second.
seconded by Barker. Mr. Blake has a question.
Does this have the emergency clause in it? Because then you need it adopted on the 17th.
Yes, I do.
Well, that's a good question.
It does section 5 of the
It is declared-
legislation has it.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. All opposed, same sign. That motion will be moved on to council with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moorhead. Up next, we'll consider resolution number 20-57, a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service for the City of Newark, Ohio to enter into a purchase agreement for the purchase of 4 2020 unmarked, that'd be 2020 unmarked SUVs for the Division of Police.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as it is stated there, we're looking to buy 4 unmarked SUVs for the Division of Police. Once we get the authority to purchase these, you get in a long waiting line for these cars. So that's why we're asking for this legislation tonight, because we know it'll probably be anywhere from 6 to 9 months before we'll actually see these cars.
Mr. Rhodes, are these vehicles going to remain unmarked?
Yes, yes, they will.
Any other questions or comments?
I
I'll
make
offer.
a motion.
Motion by Barker,
I'll second that.
seconded by Bub. Seeing no further questions. Oh, Mr. Blake.
Can Director Rhodes, what's the purpose of these vehicles? Are they for like detectives or?
There you go.
Is that,
Yep. We have police officers who are in town that are in unmarked vehicles, and that is simply to replace those vehicles that are worn and aged and ready to be sold at auction, quite frankly.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. All opposed, same sign. That will be forwarded on to council with a vote of 5-0. That
Thank you,
concludes our
Mr. Chair.
service. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. That concludes our service committee meeting for this evening. I believe up next will be capital improvements.
Sean, it will not be with us tonight. He's out sick, so I'll be sitting in for him.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Capital Improvements Committee to order. Those present are myself, Councilman Lang, Councilman Hall, or Councilwoman Hall, Councilman Rath, Councilman Labutus, and Councilman Blake sitting in for Mr. Fennell. Up first, we've got Resolution 20-58 CI appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation. We've got an appropriation in the amount of $79,000. I believe Director Rhodes is here to speak on that. Director Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With capital improvements budget, we always hold back a certain amount of dollars each year. And then as it comes towards this time of the year in August, I ask to appropriate the remainder of the dollars. There's no emergency clause on this. We just want to have the money into funds in case we need it for, a heating unit or an air conditioning unit to get us through the end of the year. Some of the projects that we have planned with these dollars is out at the cemetery. There's a slate roof on the cemetery house. Those the nail heads are beginning to rust off. That's going to be about $9,000. There's also a fair amount of concrete work at the cemetery that will need to be done. So we're going to use a little bit of that for that. If you go down 21st Street and you look at the bridge there on 21st Street, you'll notice that on the deck, there's some erosion, concrete erosion that's occurred probably because of the salt trucks hitting that. We're going to take a look at that also. Any remaining funds that we don't spend, which there's always some, go back into the general fund.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
All for a motion.
Okay, motion by Rath,
Second.
second by Labutus. Director Rhodes, if you could just clarify the 21st Street Bridge, are you talking about the 16 over 21st Street?
Not the 16 over 20. Before that, if you're headed north on 21st Street, before you get to the 16 bridge, it's a small bridge there with the deck.
Gotcha. Just
You're-
so
headed
just
north.
south of that. Okay.
Yep. That's something the engineer will look at.
What's the timing on the projects that you just mentioned there?
All of them would occur after these dollars are appropriated.
Gotcha. And any idea on the completion?
Well, it'd be this year, and if they're not completed this year, the additional dollars that were appropriated just rolls back into the general fund, and we would pick it up next year.
Okay.
Or we put the amount of the project into a PO, cover it.
Gotcha. Any discussion from the committee? Anyone else want to speak on this? Okay, with that, we'll vote to send this on to full council. All those in favor signify with a thumbs up. All opposed, same sign. All right, that passes 5-0. That'll go on to full council, and that will adjourn our committees. Full council will be coming up at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.